Assalamu alaikum students. Today our history topic is the separation of East Pakistan. In this regard, we will discuss its second part. In the first part, we had discussed the problems working for the separation of East Pakistan. Uh, in the due course, another problem was the cyclone of 1970. So on 12th November 1970, a very severe and deadliest tropical cyclone hit East Pakistan, and in that disaster, more than 500,000 people lost their lives. So the government of West Pakistan was extremely slow to react, and the politician leaders as well in East Pakistan accused the government of gross neglect because the government of Pakistan was unable to provide any relief uh, in uh, the severe and hard time in East Pakistan. The Pakistan Observer sent reporters who sent back stories with headlines such as no relief coordination, even though the government claimed the relief operations were being carried out efficiently. But the reality was totally different. India was at that time one of the first nations to offer help, and East Pakistanis were angered to hear that the government had refused to allow India to fly in aid. Instead, it had to be transported much more slowly by road. Uh, Problematic results. The main political parties in the elections who were being announced to be held in December 1970 for the National Assembly were Pakistan People's Party, led by Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and it was based totally in West Pakistan, and the other party was Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, which was based in East Pakistan. So the Awami League was able to win support by proposing a program which was called for a fairer share of government spending and more power to the provinces. So it was able to exploit the sense of frustration felt by the people living in East Pakistan towards their uh, Muslim countrymen in West Pakistan. The Awami League won in the election their huge victory by campaigning on the basis of 6 points. The election resulted in stunning victory for the Awami League. So 162 out of 300 seats were allocated for East Pakistan. Awami League had won 160 seats out of total 162. The Pakistan People's Party won just 81 seats out of 138 seats allocated in West Pakistan. So this presented Yahya Khan, president, with a situation which he could not tolerate. The Awami League had contested the elections on a manifesto calling for political and economic independence for East Pakistan. The League would have a majority in the National Assembly. Yahya Khan couldn't allow the traditional dominance of West Pakistan to be overturned. Now we'll discuss the real problems. Why did the victory of Awami League cause a constitutional crisis? So there were two major problems. First one, the Awami League had won such a large number of seats that it now had a majority not only in East Pakistan but also in the National Assembly as a whole. It meant that Awami League was in a position to form the government alone. The future prime minister and the entire cabinet could come from East Pakistan. Although the People's Party had won an overwhelming victory in West Pakistan, it was quite possible for it to have no role in government unless the Awami League invited it to share power. The second problem was that Awami League had won the elections on a program limiting the power of central government over the provinces. Already in the 6 points, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had insisted upon the same idea. The call for the provinces to have control their foreign exchange earned from trade would greatly reduce the funds available to the central government in West Pakistan. Yahya Khan and the West Pakistani politicians were not prepared to allow the 6 points to be put into action. Uh, the crisis deepens. Yahya Khan hoped that he could reach a compromise with Mujib, and in January 1971 he had referred to him as the next president of Pakistan. He hoped he would persuade Mujib not to form the next government and that he should not use a new assembly to create a new constitution limiting the power of the central government. But the many years of frustration in East Pakistan drove the East Bengalis to demand that Mujibur Rahman held strong and firm. In February 1971, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto announced that People's Party would not take up their seats in the National Assembly unless Mujib talked with the other political parties and reached an agreement about power sharing. On 1st March 1971, Yahya was forced to postpone the opening of the assembly. So the people of Pakistan considered that they had been betrayed by Yahya Khan and immediately began a campaign of civil disobedience, strikes, demonstrations, and refusing to pay taxes. So it became then quite clear that the power of central government had broken down in East Pakistan. So President Yahya Khan recalled the provincial governor and appointed General Tika Khan as chief martial law administrator to keep the situation under control.